Hey, and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown of the method that I use to set up wheel customization in Unreal Engine. So with that, let's get started. So there's gonna be a couple of things you're gonna need. You're gonna need a game instance, a BP safe game blueprint, two blueprint structures, one for the cars and one for the wheels, a widget, a parent vehicle class, and then a blueprint that sits in a level for when you spawn in the car. So to start off with, in the game instance, this is where your blueprint structure is going to originate from. So in here you have a blueprint structure, and then you set it up as an array, and then in this blueprint structure you then fill in all the information that you need. So the way the blueprint structure looks is, in the blueprint structure, how you create a blueprint structure is you right click in the folder, you head over to blueprint, and then here it says structure. And then once you've created the blueprint structure, it's gonna be blank, and then at the top you click add variable, and when you add a variable you then name that variable, and then you set its type, and then whether it should be single, array, map. In the blueprint structure for the cars, you set up all the variables you want to be able to change for the car during gameplay, and one of those variables would be the blueprint structure that contains the car's wheels. Then in the wheels blueprint structure, you then have all the things that you want to change about the wheels. One of the things you are going to need is the wheels skeleton meshes. In the game instance, you fill in all the information for the cars, and then you're going to need the skeleton mesh, because you're going to need the body of the car, and then the blueprint structure for the wheels. You also fill these in with the wheels that you want to be available to said car. So it doesn't matter how many wheels the car has. You set up all of them in the blueprint structure. You just continuously click the new add, and then you add them. This is for any wheels, whether you want them to be aftermarket wheels or like OEM wheels. Everything that you want available to this particular car will go in the BPS wheels variable. And then once you have that in the save game, you then have two integer variables. One is going to be the vehicle ID, the other one is going to be the wheel ID. What these two do is they tell the blueprint structures which car to select within the blueprint structure. And then once you have the car selected, you then use the wheel ID to determine which set of wheels to select. And then where you want to have that is in the parent vehicle class. I have a function called set wheels. And then in here, you have the game instance. And then from the game instance, you get the vehicle blueprint structure. And then you get your vehicle ID, which is your integer. This value will be set wherever you select your cars. So for me, I have two places where I select the car, either in the dealership where I purchase new cars, or in the game's garage where I display all the cars that the player owns. And then that's where I will get the vehicle ID from. And then depending on which car is selected at the time of when I want to customize the wheels, vehicle ID will then tell the blueprint structure, okay, he currently has this car selected. And then once it knows which car is selected, you then break the blueprint structure for the cars, and then you get the BPS wheels, which is now the embedded structure for that car. And then from there, you then get the wheel ID from the BP safe game, and then there you get a get again, because it comes from the wheels blueprint structure, which is an array. And then the wheel ID will then tell the array which wheels to spawn with the car, and then you break that one, and then you get the front wheel and the rear wheels, and then those will then determine which wheels to attach to the skeleton meshes when the car gets spawned in. Then you have another function which I call set front and rear wheels. If I open up this one, from here, we then get the front and rear wheel skeleton meshes from the blueprint structure. And then you drag in the variables, all the skeleton meshes, which should be empty. The skeletal mesh asset, it is currently set to none. And then in the code, we then set the skeletal mesh asset, which would come from the BPS wheels skeletal mesh. Then we just said, okay, the front wheels should be these ones, and then the rear wheels should be those ones. And then in the blueprint where the vehicle is spawned, you get the same thing. So on the event begin play, when the game plays, we get the game instance. From the variable, we load the vehicle ID, we load the wheel ID, and then we take the game instance, we get the blueprint structure for the wheels, we get the vehicle ID, we break it, we get the wheels, we use the wheel ID to then yet again tell it which set of wheels to get, and then we get the spawn actor, so the location of where we should spawn the car, and then we turn that and we cast this to the parent vehicle class, and then from there we get the set front and rear wheels function, and then we just connect the front wheels and the rear wheels to that, so that during gameplay we get the car, we have the wheels. If we play and go to customize, then if we set it to, this is the first set of wheels, these are second set of wheels. Now we have the wheels selected, and if we close this and then go back in, as you can see, we now have the other wheel selected. So that's why we have the function set the way it is, so that when the car is spawned in, you can tell the code, okay, we have this car with this set of wheels, and then that is what the player wants to see. So that is the base of how the code works. And then in the tutorial series, I will go more in depth on how to actually set it up and get it to work properly, not just in the workshop, but then also out in the open world, depending on your spawn method. But that's it for this video, and until the next one.